If you have observed a child, the questions they ask, you know what they ask? How did this come? Where from this came? They ask, where did this chicken come from? You say it came from the mother chicken. And they'll ask, where did the mother chicken come from? Say it came from its mother chicken. So you can go on and on like this. Do you see? When the intellect starts maturing, it starts questioning the source of creation. Creativity is basis of the quest. That is how the concept of God rose in the mind of the man. I asked, how did the concept of God come from? I didn't ask whether there is God or not. Did you see what answers you were giving? Did I ask what is God and what is not God? What was the question? Yeah? How did the concept of God arise? Isn't it? The same question, I put it in two different ways, no?
No, you said what is God later.
If you could say what is God, it is the concept, isn't it? It means the same. Creativity is the source. The intellect saw that there is so much orderliness, everything is being created. Somebody must have created this. So it labeled that power, that force, that source which is beneath the creation as God. The moment intellect labeled it as God, it became somebody like anyone else, like another person sitting in some heaven. And then he started punishing people, he started saying right and wrong, good and bad. All these dualities came, stories came up from that. You see this? God is not the creator, He is the creativity itself. See, a creator is one who becomes separate from the creation. He does something and he becomes separate. God can never be separate because everything is in God. All is God. There is nothing outside God. Even if a Saturn exists, even in case he exists, you think he will exist within God, not outside God. Do you get this? Huh? Omnipresent. That something which is omnipresent is also creativity. Is of course total silence and total activity. That something is beneath this flower too. You can call life. Then you will have to see that life exists also in the space, not only in the body, in the objects. If you could say that life exists, not as mosquitoes only, in the space, but also as the space itself. In the stones, in the stars, in the light and in darkness. You see what I mean? You can call it him, her, or it. See, some animals we call it, don't we? We don't call a cockroach she or he. We call it came. Huh? We say it came, or we say a lizard came. We don't say she came or he came. If you love the animal, then also okay, it. So the creativity, that force, that principle, the source, one calls it Father because from there you have sprung. From there the creation has begun. So you call it Father, or you call it Mother, or you call it the creativity. It means the same. And when it has fully blossomed, fully manifest, it is perceivable. That is the sutra. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhava. In God and in the lover of God, there is no difference. In God, which is pure space and pure creativity and divine love, uncolored love, that is what is the enlightened too. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. In your innermost self, in its purity, in its clarity, you are not different from God. You are anyway not different, but all that aspect of God is fully manifest in you too. Of course, everybody when they sleep, they are God. Mind is expressing that pure consciousness. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. In him and in his people there is no difference. His people means one who has merged in him, one who has the divine love has kindled, have blossomed. In him and in his people there is no difference. Hmm? That's what Jesus said, no? Me and my Father are one. Aham Brahmasmi, I am God. Many saints have declared, I am God. You are God. All that is God. You can see God in everywhere, only you need an eye to see it. God is the cheapest commodity that is available. You may not have good air somewhere, but God is there. You may not have sunshine somewhere, but God is there. You go to moon, God is there. You go beyond the atmosphere, God is there. God is all pervading. So life is all pervading. Love is all over. And when you sink in that state of love, there is no difference between you and that what is. God is not there just to fulfill your petty demands. Oh, heal my knee, heal my neck. God, take care of my brother, take care of my sister, take care of my wife. He is with you as your wife, He is with you as your daughter, He is with you as your father, He is with you as everything. See what we pray for? God, do me good, as though He is not doing good. We send recommendation to other people. Please, I recommend to so and so, so and so. See, when a child is away from the parent, all that it wants is to go to the parent, isn't it? But when it is with the parent, it doesn't bother about the parent, it is bothering about the toys. It says, I want this toy, I want this toy, you give me. It doesn't give attention to the parents. You can ask for small toys when you realize you are already sitting in the lap of the parent. Then even before you ask, the parent has granted you the toy you wanted. Parent gives the toy. But you can remain lost in the toys forever. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. Don't see the difference between him and in his creation. See God right here.
Is the concept of God in an unchanging personal form just another toy?
If you think it is toy, it is no more a personal form. It is personal form, it is personal form. That's all. Hmm? Hmm?
So God can be both the totality of everything and a localized or personified form at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
If God is creativity, then can we know God without being created?
You can be creative only when you have known God. And all creativity springs from that area deep inside you, which is very pure. Creativity doesn't spring from the level of thinking. Have you observed? All these aeroplanes and cameras and everything, you think man created this? No. This is also creation of God. See this? At some level from deep inside, intuition came, a thought came, let me do this. And then he just acted, there was no choice for him but to act on those thoughts. Isn't it? What really baffles you or takes you away from this idea of God is science. But if you are matured in science, immature science, takes you away from. But if you are matured, even in science, go deep in science, then you appreciate this phenomenon, this phenomenal reality underneath this creation. Tell you that is the real devotee. Real devotee, one who appreciates the science and go through it and then recognizes the reality. Otherwise the doubts will... You see that? I don't mean everyone will have to study science and... No. Science means what? Huh? Huh?
Yeah, scary.
Yeah. Seeing this whole thing, all the creations, all the creativity has sprung from some unknown area which cannot be explained but lived fully. Hmm?
What is Krishna?
Krishna is there. The previous sutra we said, Mahat Sangasto Durlabo Agamyo Amoghascha. The company of enlightened is rare to find. Agamyo, impossible to understand, perceive. Amoghascha, something fantastic. You cannot simply predict. You can predict a mind, you cannot predict a no mind. Mind is again a matter, subtle matter. But the creativity, the being, self is not matter. It has infinite flexibility. In fact, only that has the choice. Someone asked me, what is free will? I said, only if you have freedom, then you have will. If you are free, then you have will. All this talk about freedom, free will and destiny and free will, destiny, no meaning. Because you are not free. You are, say, if you are in a prison, where is the freedom for you in the prison? But if you are free, you have freedom. You can come in and go out. There is free will. But as long we are captivated by the mind and all its patterns, someone presses one button and you react, another button, this another button and then you react that way. So whole life is a chain of reactions. And you know what? How you will act. So with the freedom comes the will. Will is always free. What? See this? Will is always free. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. In the company of one who is living love, you also can't but spring into that love. Suddenly mind becomes spacey, questions disappear, don't know what to do, the spacey, you get little spacey. But in that space, the pure space, love creeps into every cell of our being, every cell of our body. And from ages we had stored lot of toxins, anger, anguish and all that. They all simply get burned down, disappear. Tasmin tajjane bheda bhavat. But the mind plays so many tricks. Mind is charmed always by a distance. We are not charmed by God because He is very close to us. He is the nearest. So mind tries to keep God at a very great distance. Anything near us loses its charm. Something farther away seems to pull the mind. Something which is simple, the mind cannot accept. Ego wants very complicated and difficult things. People go for big mountaineering, you know why? Not just for the fun. So that people will appreciate them. Huh? There is no need to climb or take all the trouble and climb, the Grand Canyons. You can take a helicopter and see if you want to see. But the ego is not happy with it. It wants to do something difficult so that it can tell its friends, people around them, see what I have done. I have climbed this Grand Canyon. Oh, everybody appreciates, look at this man. He's done. Oh, he is great climber and whatnot. Ego enjoys in tough things. In India also there are a lot of such madness. Somebody is very great because he's standing in one leg for 10 years. And people lined up queue. Thousands go to see him. Oh, it must be a great yogi standing on one leg. Great yogi standing on one leg for ages, for maybe 10 years, 15 years. Somebody, what is the greatness of this person? He never ate for 40 years. 20 years this person did not eat anything. Simply sat. All ashes all over the body. These are ego-stuck people. They are mentally crazy, something wrong with them. And the people run after such things are even more mentally. This is true, isn't it?
What about the stories though of the saints and like Valmiki and so forth, that sit so long that an anthill gets built around them?
No, see. When you sit in meditation, what happens in you? Don't you feel that some ant crawling over your body? Don't you feel the sensation? So somebody said, what is meditation is? Okay, you sit and a lot of sensation arises around you. And how the sensation will be? Another person said, it will be like ants crawling all over the body. Haven't you had this experience? You have all had this experience. Now, the third person will write, there were a lot of ants crawling over. He was sitting for so many years. And the fourth one says, it goes from mouth to mouth. And then the fourth one said, what happened? Ant hill arose there. He was sitting like a rock and ants were crawling over him. Now, fifth man draw a picture of ant hill and him buried inside. It's completely a mistaken notion. And crawling happens to you also. It is an experience in meditation. Hasn't it happened to you today in Kriya? We felt sensation, tingling sensation all over the body. In Sanskrit, they used to use very little words, just like formulas. You can expand and interpret in whatever way you want. People wrote nice stories. It was like, see, I tell you this freelance poetry, freelance poems. These poems today, it means something else, no? There is lot of sarcasm in it. What do you call it? Freelance poem or?
Free verse.
Free verse. Just the poems with, it means something else and it says something else.
A metaphor?
No metaphor. Just the poem, modern poetry. Or modern art. Someone else looks at it, it means nothing. Only an artist can understand that modern art. Otherwise you say, oh, maybe all the colors spilled on the paper. If you give that a modern picture to somebody, maybe in Colombia or in Guyana or in Colombo or in Bangladesh, they will simply tear it off. They will think paint has spilled on it. Yeah. Modern sculptor, they say maybe something is just kept there. It's not, people can't see a sculptor in the modern sculptor. Same thing with the poetry. So when the culture had attained its pinnacle, people wrote such stories which could depict the truth in a very beautiful, subtle, covered way. See that? A direct poetry is not so much appreciated by poets. A poetry which is covered. A stone fish flew in the sky, something like that. A stone fish flew in the sky. So what is the stone fish flew in the sky? You can break your head and nothing will come out of it. After a few years, people will start, some scientists will come, oh, in those days there must have been a stone fish. It would have flown in the sky. So somebody writes the thesis, PhD research in it, thesis on it. You know, people who write thesis, they make it up. You can ask them to write thesis on anything. Only the professor should approve it. His senior professor, if he approves it, it is fine. So people wrote that in a very nice poetic form. Ants, hills grew. That means so much meditation he was sitting into it. So still he was. You know?